Will Robinson here from Robinson's Auto Tools and Time.com. Welcome back. Today in the shop, we have this 2015 GMC Canyon. Beautiful truck. Traction control lights on, ABS lights on. I pulled up some scan data before bringing it in the shop. It's showing a problem on the right front. I just looked at the code, so I figured I'd bring it on the lift, jack up the front so we could spin some tires, and I was going to take you guys along with me, see what we got. All right, we'll do an automatic search. Let's read it. Got the VIN. Okay. 2015 light duty GMC Canyon. Yes. It's got the 3.6. We're going to diagnose. We're going to go right for the control unit. Electronic brake control. Trouble codes. We have a C0040 5A. Right front wheel speed sensor. Circuit not plausible. Let's see what we have for freeze frame data. Freeze frame data is pretty straightforward to read, especially if you have a code pointing in the right direction. We see all of our speed sensors here are left front, left rear, right rear. And we compare all the speeds. You notice they're all the same except for the right front. It's reading 1 mile an hour while we were doing 16. So that goes to show you that the customer, what he stated when he first starts driving, it just automatically starts activating. Before you hit 17 miles an hour, it threw this code. What I'll do next is exit out of here, and I want to see some live data. As you see, it reads for the most part. Let's bring this up as a, now that we're looking at it as a graph, let's see how it looks when we try to spin it. All right, too low of a speed, so I'm going to set this a minimum of 0, maximum 10. Same thing up here because I'm going to go over to the other side. I'm rolling it pretty steady. Why is it dropping out? I'm going to try to keep this pretty steady. Let's go 0 to 2. That way it's much tighter. See how that looks. Yeah, there ain't no way I'm stopping. I'm rotating this pretty even, but you see how choppy that is? I'm worried about the tone ring on this wheel. All right, I set the same thing on the passenger or the driver's side. Let's go see what we got. Right now I'm on the driver's side. Same thing, 0 to 2 miles an hour. I'll try keeping it at a steady speed. I know my speed's changing a little bit, but notice how it's never going down to 0 because I never fully stop. And then when I fully stop, it goes down to 0. Let me show you again on the passenger side. Now that we have something to compare it apples to apples with, watch, we're back on the right front. I'm never going to come to a stop. 0 to 2 miles an hour. Let's see how it goes right down to 0. It should never reach 0 unless I come to a complete stop. So there's definitely something going on in there. Let's pull this off. All right, and then we come in here, you see we have this T30. You're going to be an auto mechanic, stock up on T30s because you're going to twist a few off. Alrighty. We're going to wiggle this around. Hopefully She comes out for us, and she did. Not bad. Doesn't look too bad. You guys, video and video. So I'll be using my endoscope. We're going to go in there and check this tone ring. I like to set my orientation, see how the bolt's on the top. Gives me a good point of reference. I set my lighting up in there good. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, it's already pretty shady looking. It's hitting the axle over here. Sorry guys. You see that? Hopefully that's showing up on the camera. This is what I find on these. So that's why we're seeing the speed go up and then drop down to 0, because that tone ring is broken. All right, that's all the evidence I need. I got the okay to do the job. Whew. Smoke. To remove this wheel hub assembly, we're gonna have to start peeling everything back. We'll remove the caliper, the rotor. We already started removing the axle nut. All right, if you come back here on the back side of the caliper, we have 1, 2, 18 millimeters. Oh my gosh. Oh, man. No reason for it. No reason for it to be that tight. I'm gonna set this up here. Got a T30 here. All right, I said stock up on your T30s. You're gonna twist a few of them. Oh, actually, it's not bad at all. We'll come back here on the back side of the spindle and we'll see the 4 bolts that hold the wheel hub assembly in place. Something I like to do, I think I've demonstrated this before. What I do is I just push the axle back. It doesn't take much effort at all, but it just gives you that much more room to put a socket on back there to get these bolts out. Give them a little bit of penetrating oil. I'm gonna be using a wrench, a 13 millimeter wrench. Regular wrench to break it loose, and I'll use a ratchet wrench to take the rest of the way. All right guys, I got an air hammer with a flat punch. So sometimes what I like to do, I know the first thought is to go in there and try to get a chisel behind it, try to whack out on this as much as possible. But I just try to turn it a little bit with an air hammer. So pretty much like on this ear here, I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna hit against this ear. Now with the wheel turned to the left, I can whack on the inside here. These hub assemblies, they don't really get serviced anymore, and plus they rot away to nothing. So what we do is just replace the whole hub assembly, and that's how you can buy them. Actually, this particular one was on back order, so I was trying to locate just a bearing, but unfortunately I couldn't find one. So from this direction, with the wheel turned to the left, you can get a good shot in here. See, we start separating a little bit, and you can tell when we start moving because we could start to move the backing plate. So Now you take and once you get this to where you can spin it, take and spin it to the other side and it'll open it up. There you go. Remove your backing plate. Here's our first look at the broken tone ring. I can't really say it's our first look at the broken tone ring because we were able to take our borescope. We seen this broken tone ring. But now you have it off. Now you can really see that this is our tone ring and we're missing pieces to it. Side by side comparison. You can see how this ring is complete all the way around, and you can see how this tone ring is pretty much falling apart. And that's why we were reading at some points, and then it was dropping to zero. Reading, dropping to zero. Reading, dropping to zero. Now we have a continuous tone ring. Last thing you want to do is put it together with all this junk. So what I do is I take a sanding disc. It's just a round disc. Not too abrasive. This one's actually worn down quite a bit, and it actually makes it nice for getting in here and doing what we need to do just to give us a clean surface. I'm out of my small cans of fluid film, but another alternative that works really good as well is Surface Shield. It's made by PB Blaster, I believe. Or is it just Blaster? Just Blaster Corp, long lasting Surface Shield. It's a competitor to the fluid film. Just want to protect that surface. A lot of these are still in the testing phase for me, and time will tell as these vehicles come back around one day. But I see some really reputable people using them. All right, I'm going to take and slide the new hub assembly in. Remember your backing plate. That's going to go on here like so. Make sure there's no big rust buildup or delamination taking place. This one looks good. Like a glove. Like so. I guess if you want, just go and get all 4 bolts started right away. Make sure you put your Loctite on them and whatnot. I'll just get these 2 started. Ran down and then I'll just push them in. I'm not gonna tighten them at all. Just run them down. As you've seen, there is new thread sealer on it. But what I'm gonna do is, instead of trying to hold that back by hand at this point, I can reinstall this guy. I'm gonna torque them to 96 foot-pounds, starting here, then bottom corner, just alternating like so. All right. Okay. Line up one of your holes here. It's got a little bit of that fluid film in there. So, we're going to reinstall our caliper. Sometimes you got to get it over the lip on the rotor. These are torque to yield bolts, 59 foot-pounds, and then an additional 30 degrees. So 50, and a little extra. 50, and a little extra. If you have someone to hold their foot on the brake, or some kind of mechanism to hold the brake down, that's a good practice. Or what I do, a lot of times when I'm working by myself, I find a hole in the caliper, in the rotor, and it turns up to the caliper like so. We're going to torque this to 192 foot-pounds. You want to do this in pretty much one fine sweep. Like I said, I don't have it tightened yet because I want the final countdown. I want it to be torque set. 192 pounds-feet. Okay, so we just touched right there, and then you stop. It's done. Don't go messing with it. 192 foot-pounds, and leave it. All right. Once again, T30. We'll run this down tight. Click, click. I like to do all that by hand. All right, essentially that's it. You want to give it a once over. Now I got to clean up my mess and we'll reinstall the tire. Here's a question for you guys. This is the MaxiSys Elite. I think I bought it in 2018 or 2019. They want $1,300 for me to upgrade it. I don't know. So I'm trying to debate whether I'm going to go through with upgrading this or just, I've seen the launch scan tool that I could pick up for about the same price as they want just to upgrade this one. We're going to go back in here and we're going to review that live data once again. For now, I'm just going to try to focus on the right front. We can bring up the left front as well, compare apples to apples. But for now, let's just bring up the right front. That way we don't have a bunch of stuff on the screen. We'll bring it up as a graph before. We're going to go 0 to, what did we do before? 5 miles an hour or 2 miles an hour? Something like that. We'll go 0 to 2 to start. Can't quite remember, but that'll give me a nice steady roll. Start spinning this wheel. And as you can see, it doesn't ever reach 0. You can see when I'm switching hands, a little spike there, but before you see it go boom, and then pick back up when it hit that dry spot, down to 0. But now, as long as I'm spinning that wheel, you're seeing it up off of 0. So I believe we have a fix. All right, everything feels good. I'm happy with that. We'll take it for a nice little ride. There's quite the list on this vehicle, so I might do a couple more videos on this one and go through the list with you. A little closer view, just in case you couldn't see. It's hard for me to review the camera and watch at the same time, but what you don't want to see is like when we come to a complete stop and it go down to 0, like we were seeing before, while spinning it. You're seeing me switch hands. It's pretty sensitive. But for the most part, you can see us staying above 0 at a pretty consistent speed. Stabilitrak light, ABS light, traction control light on. We're gonna take and clear out this right front code. I'm gonna turn the key off and just on. Let's clear this out. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna okay it. I'm gonna read the codes one more time. Make sure we're good. No codes present. Okay. Go back to the live data. We want to go to anti-lock brake system. All right, here we go. It's a little dark out, so I hope you're able to see the screen okay. No lights yet. before you would just start taking off and it would pop right up. Everything's looking good here on the scan data. It's a shame that CVS on the corner. I remember when I first went in, gosh, it's probably 15 years ago, maybe longer. Just got a confirmation that they Chapter 11 closing the place up. That's a nice corner right there. You guys should all get together and purchase it for me. We'll open up Robinson's Automotive. I'll even open the bays up to you guys. We'll all work together, repair together. These things are very sensitive, so if we had any problems, the Stabilitrak light would be on already. ABS light would be blinking in our face. Every light on the dash would light up like a Christmas tree. Kind of like that house already. Well, I guess that's more Halloween colors. I'll give it to them. So I'm curious, what's new and exciting out there in the YouTube world? Anything good in my absence? Been making a hard push to come back here and revise this channel, and I hope you guys are enjoying the efforts. I got a few things up my sleeve that I hope to bring along, but more importantly, just my regular, diagnostics, troubleshooting, general repair. Trying to offer you guys something to watch. Get away from these politics a little bit, maybe. I got this Subaru in the shop that we're chasing a time and correlation thing after now. Let's jump in here and see what we got. You'll see some videos coming up on here shortly. And I'll keep you posted. Timing components. Got a cam correlation code, too far advanced or retarded, or who knows. I forget now. But we'll be chasing that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Another prime example how just the obvious would not fix this issue with this. If you went to most general parts stores or whatnot and had a vehicle scan, the first thing they're going to sell you is a wheel speed sensor. This still has the original speed sensor in it. There was nothing wrong with that. In this case, the tone ring was bad, and I'm finding that to be a pretty common occurrence lately on these GMs. They're coming in with these tone rings failing. So just a little heads up that it's not always the obvious once again. So without further ado, I'm gonna go in there. There's another few things on this vehicle that I gotta go over. If anything seems to be interesting, I'll make sure to bring you guys along. Thanks for watching.